and the masters of the universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Hello, this is OptimusSolo, and welcome to the 13th chapter in Tales of Eternia. With me for this journey into the Masters of the Universe franchise, as always, is none other than TFG1Mike himself. Hello.
Hello.
Are you ready, sir, for more Powers of Grayskull?
A lot of time. We took about a month or so off. Stuff happened and couldn't be helped, but we are back, hopefully.
As long as there's no other family tragedies and other things.
Well,
that kind of derailed us for a little bit.
I didn't really want to say what happened, but, you know.
Personal issues.
Yes, we'll leave it at that. But since the last episode, apparently I'm a year late in finding this out, but normally on my, because I have one of those, it's not full digital cable, but it's one of those mini boxes that some cable companies have you set up. And I've had this thing for, I don't know, 3-4 years now. And normally I don't go above channel 75. I just don't, because most of the channels that are like 100s, 200s, 300s are basically like repeat channels, like Disney Channel, like my regular 2 through...
You probably get the hub, too.
No, I don't, sadly. I tried that, it doesn't work. You gotta pay an additional $30 a month to get the hub. But no, I was going through the upper channels, which I normally don't do. I found in my area in Louisville, Kentucky, channel 185 is Retro TV. Channel 187 is Antenna TV, which I didn't think I would ever get that network. And channel 340 is something called Cubo. And Cubo Night Owl airs He-Man and She-Ra. I think it's like 11:30 or midnight Eastern time for about 2 hours a night. They air 1 or 2 episodes of He-Man and about 2 or 3 episodes of She-Ra, so yay, I got to watch my childhood on TV again. So that's the interesting news there.
Thanks for catching up with the rest of the world.
Shut the
Also watch Brave Star and a couple other things on there as well.
Brave Star and the worst Ghostbusters show ever made.
Anyway, in this episode of Tales of Eternia, we will be giving you our thoughts on episode 37, The Defection, episode 38, Teela's Trial, and episode 39, The Starchild. So we hope you're ready, because it's time to go back to Eternia.
Wonderful, Orko! Just wonderful!
I must say you're getting rather good, Orko, and I can see there's been a definite change for the better.
Yeah, and you're even cleaning up after yourself now, and that's a real change.
What do you mean, change? I'm the same as I've always been. You just never appreciated me, and besides, people don't change. The weather changes, not people.
Well, don't know that I agree with that, old buddy. People can change.
I hate to tell a prince he's wrong, but Adam, you couldn't be wronger. People are what they are. The good stay good, and the evil are always evil. And I'd like to see somebody prove me wrong.
You're wrong! Absolutely wrong, Sibylline!
Not this time.
It's not too late for me to change. I've had enough, Gorgon. You've had me destroy everything that was good and beautiful here on the Isle of Tears, and I will do no more.
What's that? You'll do as I say, and that's final. I give the orders on this island.
No! No more spells, no more floods, no more fiery monsters. I was once a good sorceress, and like a fool I let you turn me into an evil one.
You're still a good sorceress. Good and evil!
Oh, to think I helped you overthrow King Dunt.
You could always join him in the dungeon.
I'm not afraid of you anymore, Gorgon.
We'll see about that.
So the day is Tuesday, October 25th, 1983, when we got to sit down and watch The Defection, written by Ron and Sam Schultz. All right, The Defection. Sibylline, a servant of Gorgon, decides to relinquish her evil ways. Displeasing Gorgon, he sends her to a cell where she meets King Danton, the very king she overthrew. Sibylline teleports to the royal palace to ask for help, and all are ready to trust her except Orko. Unknown to Sibylline, Gorgon has enlisted the help of Evil Lyn, who is determined to make those of the palace turn against the reformed sorceress. He-Man, Sibylline, and the heroes journey to the Isle of Tears in order to defeat Gorgon and his warriors and return King Danton to his rightful throne. The Masters of the Universe that are featured in this episode would be our regulars, and the only evil warrior that we see is the aforementioned Evil Lyn. What are your thoughts on the plot of The Defection?
I enjoyed it, but I found things wrong with the episode in general, not necessarily the plot, but I really thought it was interesting that, Lou Scheimer, the entire episode, is like, no one can change. This is how it is. Yeah, see? That's just the way that Orko was this entire episode.
That sounded nothing like Orko, by the way.
I know I wasn't trying my best. There's no way in hell I could do an Orko. I can do Skeletor, but I can't. The Defection, it's an okay episode. It's not.
I like the idea of there being other sorceresses.
Yes, that's the proper
out there.
Yes.
And I like the fact that we have a plethora of, I'm just going to try to use big fancy words all episode. I like that we get a variety of these female sorceresses / magic, people with, you have the sorceress, you have Sibylline, you have Evil Lyn, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, I think it was cool having all those people involved in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea in general, as far as it's almost a episode that you immediately think character development when you're going to have something or someone who was good turned bad or who was bad turned good. I like that dynamic and always kind of wait to see where they're going to go with that. Plot-wise, my biggest problem with the plot here is the fact that the plot does not do enough to establish Sibylline as an evil sorceress.
Yeah, it starts when she wants to.
It should have started with a scene of her being evil, or a flashback of her being evil, or something, because she doesn't look evil, she doesn't sound evil, she does nothing that makes it believable that she was this evil sorceress, and they make it sound like she is known throughout Eternia as one of the most powerful evil sorceresses there.
That's the other thing I don't like about the plot, is how they speak of where this other empire is and where Eternia is. Because at one point, she says, I will go to, at the point when she's in the cell with King Danton, or whatever the hell his name is, she says, I will go to Eternia and ask for King Randor's help. And then...
I thought she just said she was going to go to the royal palace. Did she say Eternia?
No, she said, I'll, even if I have to go back to this episode to grab the audio, she said, I will go to Eternia, then I will transport myself to Eternia to ask for their help. She said that, and then later in the episode, they made it sound like this whole kingdom thing is one of the other kingdoms on the planet. And that was so weird to me that I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I like the idea that there's going to be someone that's trying to turn good, and I like the fact that they added the twist of Evelyn, who is manipulating things and trying to make the people at the Royal Palace distrust Sibylline. I think that's clever writing. That's clever plot. That we have someone who's trying to turn good, but not only does she have to deal with the fact that she's turning good, but she has to convince people who are being fed misinformation and whatnot. So I like that whole idea. I just didn't buy enough that she was this bad sorceress to begin with because they gave us no evidence of that. But that's the only really plot problem I have. I have some other problems with execution and things throughout the episode. But,
oh God, yes.
But plot-wise, that's my only issue. Is I know it's a short episode. Oh, you only have 20-so minutes. Blah blah blah. It would have been a quick, easy 1 minute, 2-minute flashback or earlier clip that shows her being evil, and I would have been satisfied.
Right, because look at Mystery. Going back a couple episodes in the podcast, look at Mystery of Many Faces. Adam starts to tell the story of Many Faces. Man-at-Arms comes in, says, "Oh, I don't remember meeting him." Well, and then Adam went back into this. Even though that episode, the flashback took most of the episode, but I see what you're saying. They could have taken some 20 seconds to just show something or have someone tell something that she used to be evil.
Because the other thing that could have done there is you could have had one scene that not only shows her as her evil self, but shows something that happens, like shows Gorgon go too far, does something that shows where it switched for her. What caused her to stop being this evil sorceress? Because it needed to be something like that. Maybe he hurt a child, or maybe he did something that crosses the line with her, that wakes her up, that opens her eyes, and then we can see both the fact that she was evil and why she's turning good. Because otherwise, it's just like, oh, I just woke up today and I feel like being good now. So that's my only issue, is how they dealt with that in this episode. All right, should we make our way to Castle Grayskull and see what everyone else has to say about this episode?
Yes, we should.
All right.
Don't have to worry about me. I'm not even touching the ground. See?
Oops. King Danton should be nearby. There's his cell.
This sure feels funny.
All right, ready yourselves.
He's in there, and unguarded, too. Sibylline, I'd hoped you'd come back. And you brought He-Man. I never thought I'd see the day when I'd be rescued.
That's why Sibylline brought us. Now we'll remove Gorgon from the throne and free the Isle of Tears.
And return King Danton to his rule of the kingdom.
All right, so it's time for our Castle Grayskull moments when it comes to the defection. I will let the TFG1 start because he has very few, I think.
Always wanted to go on an island holiday.
To a place called the Isle of Tears?
Well,
it's a cool name, but
He-Man has the jokes, because at one point there's that joke there, the island holiday joke that he makes, and then later he takes a bow. Ladies first.
Yeah.
And if you but I'm not trying to bring it down here in Grayskull, but if you think about that, if you're in a dangerous situation, the chivalry would be different. It wouldn't be, oh, ladies first. It would be, hey, let me go first so I can protect you in case anything, any guards or anything is going to come up out of where. But anyway, what do you got for?
I thought they gave Orko some great lines in this episode. Right at the beginning when they're talking about people don't change, blah, 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 blah. There's a scene where he goes, people don't change. See, Adam's late again. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about her coming, and she wants the help and all this other stuff. And I think it was the king or somebody says, well, how do we refuse her request? And Orko's like, easy, we say no.
Yeah.
This isn't a hard thing here. So I thought Orko had some funny lines at the beginning. Was that Skeletor's hand on Gorgon's staff?
I don't know. I've got something about that at another location.
Gorgon has a staff that he walks around with, and I swear to God it was their way to get Skeletor into this episode. It's his hand on the end of it. It looks like it to me. And I thought it was cool that they went full circle with Orko at the beginning. He is juggling the green balls or whatever that fall into his hat, whatnot,
Yes.
and then later on he gets turned upside down and they fall out.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool and clever to make that reappear.
The only problem with that is the line, and again, I'm not trying to be negative here in Castle Grayskull, but the line where Sibylline says, "Be very quiet," like right before that happens, she goes, "Be very quiet, the guards can hear a pin drop."
Mm-hmm.
He flips over, the balls fall out of his hat, and no guards. Like,
Yeah.
I assume the guards to be right there. No guards. Apparently these guards are fucking deaf or something.
Sounds like we're making our way to Snake Mountain.
Do you have anything else positive? I mean,
No, that was all I had. I think it's time.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Let's
Point out
let's
those
get
things that belong in Snake Mountain.
They were wrong about our not giving you a chance to change. And they were wrong about something else. 2 feet of solid steel, you say? Ladies first.
So now that we're in Snake Mountain, things might start to get ugly. I will begin here. I thought they forced things a little at the beginning with Orko.
Oh yeah.
It was like they were beating us over the head with it, and they were not only beating us over the head with things we could have figured out on our own, but just like it was too quick, and it was forced, and it was over and over again about out of nowhere. It's like, hey guys, this is the moral of the story. People can't change. People can change. Like, it was just like, I could have figured out that was what the episode was about through the action of the episode. I didn't need the narrative with the scenes with Orko and the rest of them at the beginning. It just felt awkward.
But see, that's the whole thing, though. That's the whole point of the episode, is that Orko starts out with that stance, or I should say Lou Scheimer starts out with that stance.
He can start out with that stance, but it was just the way that it was done. It was like, to pause the episode.
No, I'm not defending it whatsoever. I mean, Orko was so fucking close-minded, his brain might as well have not had any cells moving in it. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that the reason why it started that way was because throughout the episode he finds himself being able to let that kind of go and be more open-minded.
Yeah.
Obviously, by the time we get to the end. So that's why it had to start that way.
I don't mind it starting with him being like, I don't know, it's just somehow the way they did it, I didn't care.
It was weird. Yeah.
Gorgon's voice was awful.
I
thought.
I think that was Oppenheimer.
It was.
I honestly do.
It was Skeletor.
It was?
It was Skeletor an octave or two higher.
Yeah.
And whatnot, and I just did not care for that at all. There was a scene with the king and the queen at the palace where a dragon shows up, and the evil turned good sorceress saves them.
Yeah.
And the king says something like, "Thank goodness you saved our lives." It was a little too dramatic for me. I mean,
yeah, the dragon wasn't even anywhere near them.
Yeah, it seemed dramatic. So there is a zoo on Eternia somewhere?
Apparently.
Because they literally said that like the dragon had escaped from the zoo or something that Teela reported, and I think that's just bad writing. That's inserting something because we need this for the story. Well, there is no fucking zoo on Eternia.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, because the whole planet, minus like the dark half of the planet,
if there's a zoo, I want someone to travel to it and let's.
Right, but what I'm saying is like.
I mean, we know there's a circus. I guess maybe there is a zoo.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a beastly sideshow.
Yeah, best episode. Anyway, what I don't get is if there is a zoo outside of Beastly Sideshow, I don't understand why that would be, because the entire planet minus the Snake Mountain and the lava pit half, like pretty much the entire planet that's not desert or mystic mountains or snowy mountains or snow meow or whatever. It's all greenery. It's all forestation. So why would there be a zoo? That made no sense.
How would Orko ever find himself caught in a flood or a raging river?
Oh God, yes. What? I don't. This is exactly what I was pointing out a couple of episodes ago when He-Man and Man-at-Arms slid down the rope, and then Orko slid down the rope to get from one area to the other. Orko can fucking float. What the hell?
Honestly, this is probably one of the, as far as the series overall,
yeah,
and the characterizations and whatnot, this is probably one of the things that they get wrong more often than anything else in this series, is that Orko can fly, float, hover, whatever you want to call it. And again and again and again, they inconsistently deal with that and have him being saying things, doing things, caught in things, whatever, that wouldn't apply because of the fact that he can fly.
I don't know. I know I have never noticed these two writers, Ron and Sam Schultz, before. So far, since we've been doing the podcast, I've never noticed them. I don't think you've ever mentioned their names before. So I think this is the first time we've encountered them. I know He-Man, when it was in production, had staff writers and freelancers. I think these people were freelancers that just came in because the staff writers were off doing whatever else for other episodes, and Lou was probably just like, yeah, we need you guys to write this, so please do so. We'll pay you whatever I don't know, but I honestly think it was just bringing...
Well, but it's also not the first time it's happened. Like, it's happened in a lot of episodes where all of a sudden he can do something that he shouldn't be able to do, or he's worried about falling when he can fly. I don't know. It just seems like they get it wrong over and over and over again, and I'm not sure why they do. Like, I just don't quite get it. Also, the storm ends, which is fine. I don't have a problem with a storm abruptly ending. It happens all the time in real life, where eventually a storm ends.
At least it didn't go underground this time.
Okay, well, it might have not gone underground, but where the fuck did all the flood water go? Magic or not, water doesn't disappear like that.
Evaporation?
Very, very fast.
Maybe it got a couple degrees hotter.
And yeah, my own other thing I already mentioned. I just don't like the fact that they never showed the evil side of Sibylline. So what do you have that you were contemplating at Snake Mountain?
Oh, God. This is one of those times where I really wish we knew what Orko looked like, because I would choke the fuck out of him. Oh my God. This is the first episode that I really see. Like, I've taken Orko with a grain of salt, with the kind of court jester that he is and everything else. He's up to this episode, 36 episodes before this, he is not as bad as everyone says he is until Lou Scheimer decides to put a message in his voice, and oh my God, I wanted to choke the fuck out of that little guy. He just needs to be more open-minded. He just does. Another thing I wrote down was, if Evelyn and the other evil warriors serve Skeletor, then why is she doing a plot without his knowledge? We don't even know where Skeletor even is in this episode. We have no clue. It wasn't like, she reported to Skeletor and said, oh, well, since nothing's going on, you have no plans for today, I'm going to take Evelyn takes a holiday or whatever. She just magically shows up at Gorgon Trollface's place, and it's like, I don't get it. Like, I know we've talked about it before where Skeletor's always asking where his evil warriors are and stuff, and we kind of see that here where she's gone off on her own to help this troll idiot, and I don't know.
For the record, Ron and Sam Schultz, this is the second episode that we've covered that they did.
Really? What was the
The
first?
first one was the She-Demon of Phantos, which we both gave 4 stars to.
Oh, weird.
So,
How can you go from writing something that cool to writing complete and utter Eternian dog shit?
I wouldn't go that far, but...
Why does the troll ruler have a staff that has a hand on it? Made no damn sense.
Because it was their way to get Skeletor involved.
Yeah. I had to write this way. The guards don't hear Orko's balls dropping seriously.
Nor has anyone ever since.
And the guards don't even see them escape. Like, they run right by the guards.
Well, it's not like Orko has very big balls.
Apparently so.
I just went there, folks.
Just don't show them the Driel.
Oh, Lord. It's a good thing we're in Snake Mountain, because it's ugly.
So Evelyn's magic just creates a bar that locks them in. No fucking sense whatsoever. She's like, why do you need your guard? You have me here. Let me do my magic. And then it's just a barrier on the door.
That's all they needed. Kept the guards out.
Yeah, it kept the guards out, but He-Man was...
Oh, who knew he was on the other side of the wall?
No one knew he was on the other side of the wall, but that's this episode. Oh my god.
I wasn't that pained by it. Anyways, anything else in Snake Mountain for you?
No.
Just pure agony for you in Snake Mountain?
Yeah.
You're getting railed by Skeletor behind the throne? Anyway.
No. But it's like, it's just... A lot of this, okay, I get the plot. I like the plot. That was one of the reasons why I originally scored this as high as I did. It's not way up there, but it's not also at the, it's not a, what was that whiny bitch episode of Teela's? I forget. We'll get to one here in a minute, but it's just... The plot was good. The execution and everything that happens in the episode kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, let's see if we can get something positive out of it at our award ceremony.
Ah, just what everybody needs, a magical island holiday.
All right, so we are ready for some awards. And what do you have to give out, Mike?
Can't believe I'm doing this, but Orko gets a Havoc staff. I like that he finally came around in the end and finally realized it, but just, like you said earlier, they beat you over the head the first 15 minutes of the episode of people never change, people never change, people never change. Oh my god, yeah. Orko, Havoc staff.
I, too, am going to feature Orko in my award ceremony, and
give him a power sword.
I'm going to give him a power sword.
Asshat.
Okay, first of all, I think he has some clever, funny lines throughout the episode. He's the funniest character to me in the episode, so I like that. Second, I think everybody else was too welcoming and accepting that this evil... If this sorcerer's chick is as evil as she says she is, or as she has had the reputation of being... then I think we should be a little apprehensive of it, and I think it's good to have that one person that's like, you guys are buying this hook, line, and sinker a little too quickly. I'm going to doubt a little bit. Now, yes, I don't like the fact that he was so close-minded at the beginning and he was beating us over the head with it, but I do respect the fact that Orko was having the intention of being kind of like the protector and a way that he wasn't just going to buy everything and be gullible. So I like that part, and like I said, he was funny to me. So yeah, I give him a power sword. I liked him in this episode. We can agree to disagree. I do have another one, though. I would like to give a Havoc staff to the Schultz brothers in this one. They did a great job with their first episode. Not so much in the execution on this one. Inserting a zoo into Eternia, and just some of the ways they wrote things. Orko being caught in a flood that disappeared magically, and the fact that they decided not to show the evil side of Sibylline. I just think they missed on a lot of opportunities here, so I got to hit them over the head with the Havoc staff for taking a great plot idea and not doing it right.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they even got this on the air for one simple reason. One very simple reason. The Jennifer Lopez plunging neckline of Sybiline's outfit. I mean it
I thought it was pretty cool.
No, it's cool. She looks hot, but that's like the lowest neckline I've seen in the entire.
There's actually a worse scene where they show her from behind.
Yeah.
And
they show the crack of her ass.
Yeah, that outfit's going right up that crack.
Yeah. All of the female outfits, when they do that first person shot by the legs, all of the
I never noticed as much as I did in this episode, though, because there's one where she's standing with both legs, basically, like the camera is behind her and under her legs.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, might want to pick that out. How about ratings? How many Orcos are you giving this episode?
2. I originally, because of the plot and because of I liked the overall premise of the plot, I was going to give it a 4, but since we've talked it out, it gets a 2 because of the completely shitty execution of the story.
Wow. I too.
Don't tell me this is a 5. You've almost given 5s to better episodes than this.
No, I said wow because we're in agreement, and I give this a 2 out of 5 Battle Cats. Okay. I can't give it a 0 or a 1 or 1.5 because the plot is decent and there are some good moments in it, but I can't give it a 3 or 4 because there's just too many little things that bug me about it. So yeah, we're in agreement that 2 out of 5 there. I don't give 5 to shitty episodes, my friend. I'm not like you.
Shut up. Beastly Sideshow is awesome.
All right, on that note, let's move on to episode 38.
Snake Mountain. You're going to be spending a lot of time there working for us.
Today I committed a terrible error in judgment. Because of me, we have lost our great teacher, inventor and warrior, and I have lost a father. I made an unforgivable mistake. I am not fit to be captain of the guard. I resign from my post.
Teela, you're being much too hard on yourself.
I refuse your resignation.
Then I have no choice but to exile myself to the wastelands.
Teela, no!
I'm sorry, but I leave tonight.
All right, it's Wednesday, October 26, 1983, and it's time for Teela's Trial, episode 38, written by one David Wise. In a desolate location on Eternia, Man-at-Arms tests his newest invention, a portable teleportation device, which is a mouthful. A spying Trapjaw immediately attacks Man-at-Arms, who throws the device over to Teela in a heroic throw, if I must say so myself. She uses the teleporter to make Man-at-Arms disappear. Trapjaw leaves empty-handed, but locates Man-at-Arms and captures him, believing she has killed her father. Teela decides that she can no longer serve as captain of the Royal Guard and exiles herself. Can He-Man locate Man-at-Arms in time before the dangers of the wasteland take their toll on Teela? The regulars show up as the Masters, and we have a main role from Trapjaw as well as side roles from Skeletor and Beastman as far as the evil warriors go. And our PSA is Man-at-Arms talking about not running away from your problems or your mistakes and having the courage to face them. I'll go first here. As far as the plot goes, I obviously it fits that we have Man-at-Arms doing something with an invention, so I have no problem with that. That's what he does. And the evil warriors trying to get their hands on it. This is a tried and true plot for any boys action cartoon of any generation. Going to Teela's trial part of it, then we shift to the fact that she makes a mistake. It may or may not have cost her dad his life or something, put him in harm's way, danger, etc. So she's dealing with that as a character. She's trying to cope with that. She's resigning her position, which I'll talk about later. And, basically trying to come to terms with it and then being an aid to He-Man as they try to rescue and save Man-at-Arms so that everything will be all right. You know, it's not a terrible plot. It doesn't do anything like special and fancy and spectacular for me. Like, it's not something I've not seen before. But I don't have any like major problems with it as a plot in general. What about you?
Well, remember last episode when we talked about at the very end when you're like, oh, Teela's trial. This means it gets an automatic 0, right, Mike? First of all, I got to start off with something because this is one of those ones when I watched it, I didn't pay attention to the opening. I intentionally try not to pay attention to the opening credits when it lists the writer and director, and I wasn't paying attention this time around to those, and I cannot believe this was written by David Wise. Now, I do know from talking with him, we did an interview with him, a couple of years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago. Or not 3 or 4 years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, I should say. And I believe in that interview he did tell us that He-Man just wasn't his thing. He was more into, obviously Turtle was later in 87, but at that time he was like G.I. Joe and Transformers, and he preferred the more of that kind of stuff. I don't think he really was that into He-Man from what I can remember from that interview, but I was surprised to see his name listed as the writer of this because this episode is so bad. So Teela made a mistake and she eventually learned from it. When an episode title says that a character will be going through a trial, like Teela's trial or OptimusSolo's trial or the Trials of Thundera or whatever, that to me either means they are in trouble with the law and they have to go to court, or they need to prove themselves by taking part in physical and mental trials. This is a friggin' exile episode.
Teela's Exile.
God. Well, they should have fucking titled it that then, because this has nothing to do with...
Well, it's her trials and tribulations as far as dealing with her troubles and whatnot. I mean, I can see them naming it this. I mean, I can see what you're saying, too, and that could have been an expectation you had of the episode, but I still think the title still fits, but I can see where you're coming from.
This episode was more of a whiny crybaby.
Oh, stop it. You just hate Teela. You cannot separate your hate for Teela away from these episodes. It's clouding your judgment.
No, it's not. As far as the episode's PSA, I did enjoy that. So.
All right. Well, I do have some things to share. So even though it might be a quick segment, let's get to Castle Grayskull.
Adam, you've been at the communications center all night. You need some rest, my boy.
I'm sorry, Father. I was hoping that if Man-at-Arms was somewhere out there, he might somehow get a message through.
I understand, son. Good night.
Good night, Father. Man-at-Arms, where are you?
Adam.
Hello? Who are you? Come in.
Adam, is that you?
Man-at-Arms, where are you?
At Snake Mountain. Skeletor's got me in his dungeon. I managed to rig a communicator, but I can't talk long. I knew you'd be standing by, Adam.
I need your help.
I'm on my way. See you soon. But first, I'd better find Teela and tell her. If she doesn't help save her father, she'll never get her self-confidence back.
All right, as far as Castle Grayskull moments, I have a few. First of all, a teleporter invention is cool no matter who you are and how old you are. I love teleporters. Teleporters, transporters, anything that takes you and puts you somewhere else. It's an invention that needs to happen. Somebody make it work. So I think that was cool, and I liked seeing Man-at-Arms go back to that. It had been a while since we had seen him with some invention or, gadget gizmo. So I like that. I like the idea of Teela resigning. I
do too.
Not just because I want to get rid of her. I think in any show that has, your heroes or whatnot, it's cool at one point for one of the standard regular heroes to be killed off, to quit, to be fired, to resign, to leave, to whatever. It just makes everything more real. And I liked the feeling and the atmosphere that came over when she was like, I am forced to resign my position. It's something you're not expecting to see or hear when you tune into the episode. I think cartoons could benefit a lot more from doing real things like that. It's one of the reasons to this day why Transformers as a franchise stands so high on my list of cartoon franchises, because they were able to do that. They killed off characters, which is something, as morbid as it sounds, throughout my entire childhood, what I wanted to see happen. Because to me, cartoons were fake if every character survived every episode. So anytime that someone's going to leave, or I have the thought that it even could possibly happen, even if it doesn't, I like that. So I like that about this. The attack track. I thought it was funny that he made the line, "If you need me, just whistle." Because it's been happening over and over, throughout the last dozen episodes where they whistle and the attack track comes. So I thought it was funny that they acknowledged that, and they actually had him say, "If you need me, just whistle," because it's a phrase, but it also makes sense, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean. I know you don't like that.
Whistling for vehicles. Oh.
And I thought that it was good to discover, for everyone's safety, for the benefit of the whole planet, that no fear, guys, Snake Mountain comes equipped with fire extinguishers. You're safe. Yeah. Anytime there's a fire, you can just grab that fire extinguisher on Snake Mountain and you are good to go. I don't really know if that should be in Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain, but how about your highlights, sir?
Oh, we're on highlights. Okay, I thought we were getting into the negative stuff first. Now, I actually went back and I tried to re-listen to this, and I tried to watch it again because I wanted to see if this first note, if I was right. Did you notice if there was any change in the thunder sound effects in the transformation scene?
No, I did not notice.
It seemed different this time around. I don't know, I liked it, but they just, I don't know, it sounded like they changed a little bit. Teela got flipped like a rookie wrestler when He-Man got the snake off of her. I love that. That's so awesome.
That's all.
Yes, have faith. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Is that all you have?
No. Got two more. Okay. Yes, have faith in your dumbass self, Teela. They do. What are you doing? Put that down. I forget who. I think Skeletor said that. I don't remember. Somebody said it. It was funny how they said it. But that's it.
That is it for you. I am stunned. All right, fine. Let's let you have your heyday and get to Snake Mountain.
A solid force field cage. Very clever, Skeletor.
That's a high compliment coming from a mind as brilliant as yours. But enough with niceties. Get to work.
And how do you intend to make me work?
You want to eat, don't you? When you're half starved, believe me, you'll do anything I say.
Good point. I was tinkering on another teleporter. I suppose I could finish it.
Splendid! But finish it on paper. I want plans, not finished products. After all, you might try to teleport yourself out of here. You can use that box as a model for the teleporter. When I return, I wish to see it completed.
That's what you wish, bonehead. Now to find some parts and see what I can do.
All right, time for our Snake Mountain moments. I'll let you do the abbreviation. All right. First of all, I love that at one point, Man-at-Arms is inside the little force field, and He-Man...
Wait a second here. This is Snake Mountain. This is supposed to be shit you hate.
Right.
What the hell?
No, it is. I'm saying this in a sarcastic, facetious way, like I do a lot of times. You know me. I'm a sarcastic son of a bitch. Okay.
Yes,
I love the fact that Man-at-Arms is in a force field type cage square thing. Anyway, He-Man, as always, believes that brute force is the solution to all problems, which is the only bad thing about this series as a whole. Anyway, we'll get to that much, much later when we wrap up this whole series. But being the brute that he is, he decides that he is going to punch the force field thing and just free Man-at-Arms. My problem is not the fact that he's going to punch this. My problem is the fact that he decides to do this and does this without telling Man-at-Arms to move.
Yeah.
If that would have been a successful punch, he would have punched him in the face. Or at the very least, sent force field shards into Man-at-Arms' face. Or whatever happens when you punch through a force field shield thing. So yeah, that was a weird decision by He-Man. And I love the fact that they keep talking about he wants Teela to go create a diversion so he can free Man-at-Arms. And the fact that they're going to be here any minute, they know we're here. They're gonna be here. You need to go make a diversion. Blah 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 blah. They never once show any evil warrior or a guard or any creature, human being, anything. There's no diversion needed. Skeletor's out front waiting for you guys to finish your business.
Yeah.
So that was just weird how that was written. That's all I got. How about your Snake Mountain moment?
I really hate it when there's whistling for vehicles. Have I mentioned that at all in the last 13 episodes?
Attack Track is not a vehicle. It is a being of intelligence.
It is a fucking vehicle that has computer-generated intelligence.
It's like KITT.
Yes, but Michael never whistled for KITT.
Could have.
He didn't.
Could have.
He just talked into his watch for KITT.
It's about the same thing.
No, not really. Teela is so overthinking everything. Oh my god. The king and queen even tell her, no, you don't have to exile your... Oh my god. What a bitch.
She's a girl. Are we supposed that she's overthinking things?
Yeah. She even admits that she never listens to her father. Is she ever gonna learn any fucking lessons? Oh my god.
We're gonna have to be nicer to the female characters when we get to She-Ra, because we're gonna actually have female listeners.
Right. Yeah, right.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, she was slightly annoying at times. I was trying to be okay with it because, she is going through some stuff. She thinks she did something to her dad, character development, that she's struggling.
But see, that's the thing. There is no character development here because of the fact that everyone around her is trying to tell her that he's still fucking alive and she doesn't want to fucking listen to them.
Huh.
She thinks that the mistake that she made is so fucking bad. She seems to think that she took a fucking pistol and put it up against his fucking head and shot him. It's like, seriously.
Very graphic.
Grow some fucking balls, bitch.
Can't have balls. Or she...
I know. But it's like, seriously.
China,
listen to the... Okay. We're 37 episodes in?
Yes.
To the whole series. 37, 30, 38, 32, 38, 35, whatever the hell. We're almost 40 episodes into this series. And even though in episodes that it's turned out that in the end she did listen to the people, she still, until He-Man shows up and said, oh, hey, we're going to go save your father now, she barely listens to anyone else.
Well, she's not a good listener.
And she has the gall to give Adam a bad time for being late or for running away. Oh, fuck her. I hate Teela. Teela is easily... I don't think this is ever going to change my mind between now and the end of the podcast. Teela is easily the worst, dumbest fucking character in this entire fucking show.
I'm going to go find a Teela action figure and send it to you.
No, you're not, because I will set it on fire.
That's not very nice to do when someone sends you a present. Anyways, let's get to the awards and rankings for episode 38. Teela's Exile.
I really must stop burning my walls like that.
Alright, not that I can't predict where this one's going to go, but do you have any awards or presentations to give, sir? I will duck and cover.
Listen to your fucking parents, listen to your friends, and stop being such a whiny little bitch, Teela. Havoc staff, straight up the ass to Teela.
Straight up the ass.
That's right.
Oh my, that is definitely a Snake Mountain moment. Not quite. I am looking at my trophy case for episode 38, and unfortunately it is empty.
Okay.
Nobody stood out for me either way.
Yeah. Rankings?
You're going to be surprised here. I actually somewhat like this episode. Teela got a little annoying to me. and it was weird with the whole scene at the end with the no diversion needed and what exactly was going on with Snake Mountain, so I didn't, super care for that. But overall, I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5.
1.
1?
1 out of 5.
This episode was not worse than the last episode.
This episode was worse than the last episode because she doesn't fucking listen. Okay, let me ask you this, okay? You somehow make a mistake that ends up putting your aunt or whoever in a nursing home or in a hospital, or say, okay, here's a perfect example. It's the same kind of thing. Obviously, we don't have teleporters here in the 21st century, but yes, we should. But say you're driving and you get into a car wreck and you have minor injuries, and your passenger, who is maybe your aunt or your mom or whoever, whatever family member you want to call, whatever family member you want to insert there, say they have worse injuries than you. You mean to tell me that you're not going to listen to your friends saying that she's alive, she'll be okay, the injuries aren't as bad as we think, it's not your fault? You know what I mean? You're seriously not going to sit there and listen to the rest of your family and your friends? That is why this episode is worse than The Defection, because she does not fucking listen. They sit there and calmly try to tell her what is going on, what she needs to do, instead of her just jumping the fucking gun and just saying, oh, I need to exile myself. Oh, I'm going to go live in the dangerous woods, and, my skin is pale white, and I'll live with some fucking dwarfs that'll rape me every fucking night.
I don't know. The plot's not as good as the last episode, but the execution to me is better. So I'd rank this one higher than The Defection. So let's move on and see if we agree or disagree on our next episode, episode 30.
What did you say? You don't give a fellow much choice.
No! Let me go! Let me go! I don't want to stay here.
Why? Don't you like me?
Why should she? When she should be living up here with us.
No, you just keep your distance, Willin. You and the rest of you tree people.
Don't you threaten me, cave dweller. I want Starchild, do you hear me?
Ha! As always, your words fall on deaf ears. You'll have to take her. Starchild, don't go that way. It's not safe. Come back.
No! You people, you're always fighting over something. Me or... Help me!
Oh, no! Starchild!
She's fallen into the old vine jungle. It's all your fault, Palos.
My fault? Listen, if you hadn't... That's an ogre. He must have seen her fall.
What'll we do? No one is safe down there.
No one? We'll see about that.
What's going on?
By the power of Grayskull!
What was that?
We must hurry, Battle Cat. A child has fallen into the old vine jungle.
He-Man!
So we're making our way through what must have been a painful week back in 1983. We're on Thursday, October 27th. We're finding ourselves at episode 39, The Starchild, written by Bryn Stevens and Arthur Brown Jr. The plot goes something like this. A commotion alerts He-Man to a confrontation between Palos of the Cave Dwellers and Willin of the Tree People. Both sides are fighting for ownership. Yes, ownership of a young girl known as the Starchild. Taking her back to the royal palace, He-Man presents her to the king and queen, hoping that there may be a resolution and they may cut her in half and give them to both. No, that's a different story. But when both Palos and Willin appear once again, they drive the Starchild into numerous hiding places around the palace, and the young one proceeds to protect herself by turning the royal palace against its inhabitants until eventually a solution is found. We have no evil warriors in this episode, and we have our regular masters going, and the sorceress ends up showing up in the PSA at the end, even though she wasn't in the episode at all, to tell us that we all, in 80s music, have the power of love. So yeah, the plot on this one: Starchild, Magic Child, people fighting over her, bring them before King Solomon, and decide what to do with the baby.
This is an audio podcast, so people can't see me waving to Count Marzo because a couple of months, or during the time that we've had since episode 12, he tweeted me and said, "Oh my god, the Starchild is the worst episode. I hate this episode. I hope you guys don't like this episode." Little disclaimer here, I'm going to be getting very personal with this episode. It's not often that I talk about a lot of my personal life in podcasting. I have at some point before, but I don't do it very often in a lot of the review shows, but this episode kind of hit home for me. I've watched the episode twice because the first time around I never really gave it a chance because I was like, "Oh god, this is so bad." On the second time around, I've realized just why this episode connects with me. I came from a home with divorced parents. Sure, I saw my dad once or twice a week, but I lived with my mom full time. I see why Starchild wants to run away because of her guardians fighting over her, just like my parents used to fight over me all the time. So I get this episode. The message was a little bit beaten over our heads, but I understand it. I get it. So it kind of did touch me a little bit, and I don't know what kind of. That's one thing in our 2, 3, 4 year friendship, we haven't really talked too much about our home lives, and I don't know what kind of home life you had, but coming from divorced parents and seeing that this episode is essentially a divorce PSA, even though it's my two dads animated, Go ahead.
I'm just saying, to me, the beauty of this episode, and I'm not trying to say that this is a great episode or that this is my favorite episode or anything like that. I don't see how it can be someone's least favorite episode, only because I've seen some of the other episodes. And there's some really shitty ones out there that are worse than this. But to me, the beauty of this episode is the fact that its message, or the heart of the episode, can be applied to, in my opinion, completely different scenarios for different people. If you tear away everything, basically we have the star of the episode, who is being pulled in different directions, who is being fought over, who is almost losing herself because it's, having that feeling where they're not fighting over her because they care about her.
Right, they're fighting over her because they want what she has.
Well, it's either they want what she has, or they're fighting for some superficial reason, if you want to even take it a step further. So for me, that can apply to different things. It can apply, like you pointed out, to a child who has parents, divorced parents, separated parents, whatever, who are fighting over her, or whatever, where it becomes sometimes in those situations more so where it's not they so badly want to spend time with the child or want the affection, but it becomes they want to win. They want to take that away from the other parent. They want to, have that satisfaction that they're the one with the child. You know what I mean? Right. Not so much where it's they truly want to spend time with the child, even though that's where it all comes from. But it also could be something different. It could be someone who is at school, and this happens a lot, especially growing up, where people compete for friendship, where people compete for who's best friend or what group are you in. And there are times where people are fighting over you because they want you in your group, in their group rather than you be in this group, or they want you to associate with them instead of that person. So it could it could play into that way. There's just so many different scenarios in a kid's life where they could feel like people are competing to either win their affection or because they have something, even as an older kid, when you have something that kids maybe are wanting to spend time with you because of something you have at your house. a toy you have, a video game system you have, this or that, compared to actually wanting to spend time with you. So I just think there's multiple dimensions to this whole dynamic, and I think that adds a lot to the episode that kind of makes up for some of the bad parts of the episode.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of got on a soapbox there.
No, I mean, you're right. It is for various things, and I think that, for most people, it's going to be if you come not necessarily from a broken home, but a split up home or whatever, I think that's really where people are going to go. But yeah, you're right. It could be anything. It honestly could be.
And I do like the fact too that this plot lends itself to, and I know I was joking around and doing the whole King Solomon thing because that's kind of what it made me think of, is that whole story. But I like the fact that it takes the opportunity to strengthen the validity of King Randor and Queen Marlena as king and queen of this land.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not just the Royal Guard and our regulars that serve this king and queen, but throughout Eternia, people recognize the rule of this king and queen and respect the rule of it.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly.
So I kind of like that dynamic.
Yeah, I love that part. I think with the whole PSA thing,
I just had to put the power of love in there.
Yeah.
The power of love. Sorry.
Which version?
Well, whatever one you want. The movie version.
Okay, but which movie version? Because there are two. There's the Huey Lewis, and then there's the Celine Dion.
Oh, the Huey Lewis. Good Lord.
Okay.
Oh,
I
my
was
God.
gonna say.
I gotta go wash myself.
Oh, God, I just got a really evil idea.
I gotta go
I
shower.
write this down.
You just mentioned Celine Dion in any of our podcasts.
Okay, really quickly, the PSA. I think a couple of things with the PSAs, and I know this is probably more so for overall serious thoughts, but I'm going to put it here because I think with the PSA, we're supposed to see the sorceress as a mother figure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, why did I almost call her Elena? Yes, Marlena is Adam's mother, but I have never yet, to this point, seen either Randor or Marlena do a PSA. It's always been He-Man, Adam, Orko, Man-at-Arms, Teela, or the Sorceress.
Why did Skeletor do a PSA? That would have been
maybe in the future. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I see why she's the one that did this, because I could see her as a mother figure. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't mind the PSA at all. Anything that says the power of love to me, I'm going to like. Anyway, let's make our way to Castle Grayskull and see what wonderful things we have to say about the Starchild to piss off Count Marzo.
Before that, a musical interlude.
Not for sale, 'cause I'm your lady, and you are my man. Whenever you reach for me, stronger and harder than a bad girl's dream. Make a bad one good, make a wrong one right. Power love will keep you home at night. Don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love. That's the power of love.
Let's check over there.
Well, let's see. If I were a little girl, frightened, lonely, what would I do?
Well, if that doesn't set the mood for Castle Grayskull, I don't know what does. All right, I will start off. Cringer, long time no see, good buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Been a while since we've seen Cringer and heard him speak, and not that he got to speak or do anything that big or dramatic. It was only the first minute or so of the episode, but It's good to see him. I like the idea of having a child with a main role like this. Now, we have seen children in He-Man before, but to me, this is kind of one of the first times we've seen it as like a main empowering figure character with a lead role type thing. So I kind of liked that, and it felt different to me. It felt new. It felt like something that made sense. There was some soup. Now, we rip on the visuals and animation, and everybody likes to rip on filmation, animation, blah, 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 blah. There is some freaking cool lighting and shadowing effects in this one. Specifically when the Starchild is in the one room and she like starts glowing or whatever, and like you can see on He-Man and on I believe it was Teela, some very cool like shadowy, campfirey like lighting on them, and I just thought they did really well with the lighting in a few parts of this episode. Like I said, I liked it showing other people's respect for their king and his rule. The people, basically obeyed him, bowed down to him, respected his wishes and whatever he said. So I thought that did a lot to develop the king and queen as not just king and queen over Man-at-Arms and Prince Adam, which is the only people we've seen in the palace, basically, besides random guests. I love the fact that we got what I'm going to quote and term as the right voice for the queen in this one. Not that other one. This is the fitting voice for the queen. How it should be. And I just loved how they were used and depicted in this episode. I just like everything about what they did, what they said, how they came to them as, wanting the answer, the lines they got, the dialogue they got. I thought the king and queen were used very properly and in a way that they aren't always used in this episode. So I liked that. How about you?
No, I pretty much agree with everything that you said. The only thing I actually wrote down was, ha ha ha, tickle trap.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for the tickle trap. Unless you're in Snake Mountain.
Yeah. I really do enjoy this episode, and I think that outside of the whole fighting, which again brought me back to my childhood, that's really the only really bad thing I can say about this one. But at the same time, this was one of those episodes where I just watched it because it was pretty enjoyable to watch. Like I said, I didn't write anything else down. I probably should have, but pretty much the points that you brought up, I pretty much agree with.
All right. Well, let's try to dig deeper into why some people might not like this episode. Let's get to Snake Mountain.
Well, looks like the war's over.
Thank goodness.
All right, we find ourselves in Snake Mountain for some of the not-so-hot moments of the Starchild. I'll let you begin, sir.
It's like a divorced couples episode fighting over custody. Like I said, it brought back some nasty memories for me, so... But after that, there was I can't believe I'm going to say this. There was a bright moment in Snake Mountain. Since when does the palace have fucking skylights? I have never seen skylights.
You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of Willy Wonka when they eventually have the idea that the glass, they're going to go up through the hot air balloon or whatever, through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. An episode that I wrote this down, it preached just a little bit too much and was basically a bad court case.
It would have been better if they actually threatened to cut her in half.
Yeah, there you go. What do you got?
Here's my main problem with this episode. Is I like the idea of it. I like the idea of this magical child being fought over by multiple little civilizations of people or whatever. I think that's a great idea. I just think she was terrible. If they would have had a cuter or more innocent or just better looking child, she looked like a cross between the freaking girl from The Exorcist And
She sounded like the girl from The Exorcist. But
they just needed somebody that sounded better, somebody that was cute, like more kid cutie, like whatever, like a young Dakota Fanning or something like they needed. I don't know.
I don't even think Dakota... Yeah, Dakota wasn't born yet.
I know.
Because...
They needed somebody that worked better. I thought it was a great idea. I just think she was a freaky-looking child, and didn't like her voice, and her eyes were always like big and huge and scary. So yeah, I thought they executed poorly on the girl herself.
She looked like a skinny Cabbage Patch Kid.
Yeah, and they even call her cute at one point. Oh, she's adorable. No, she is not. All right, the guest voices on this episode were terrible. And by guest voices, I mean guest characters, not guest people, since it's always the same people. At one point, it was so bad that I even got thrown off because He-Man was in the room, and then we hear a voice coming from the side, and I'm like, how is Prince Adam going to run in when He-Man's right there?
That wasn't Prince Adam, that was Willem.
I know. But, I mean, that's literally what I was thinking. I'm like, whoa. How are we going to have Prince Adam and He-Man in the same room? I mean, it was straight up Adam's voice. It was straight up Man-at-Arm's voice. Like, if you're going to have them be main characters in the episode, they need to change it up, do one of their other versions of the voices, or you should have had Alan Oppenheimer.
Do something.
It was just bad.
The thing with Willem's voice is that it's not... It is Adam's voice and it isn't, because in Willem's voice, there's more of a name. It's kind of like he's holding his nose like this. and it's more of a nasally version of Prince Adam. Yeah. So...
and here's another thing I didn't like about this episode, the fact that they gave He-Man magical powers. The lights go out.
I watched this episode twice. What magical powers?
What's that?
I watched this episode twice.
Okay.
What magical powers
very
are you
carefully. They're looking for the Starchild. Which is actually kind of a cool name for the kid. Anyway, they're looking for the Starchild, and she's hiding in the room, and she turns out the lights. And he says...
Oh, no, that was an invention. That wasn't...
No. Hold on. And he says, no problem, I will use the flashball. Almost like a combination of a flash grenade and a light bulb, I guess. Anyways, right. I don't mind that that's an invention. I don't mind that it's a thing or whatever. But the thing is, he says, I will use a flashball with his hand out, and then the flashball magically appears in his hand. He doesn't grab it from his belt. He doesn't grab it from that. We know his belt holds a million things besides stuff that's not there, apparently. But his hand is just out, and the ball appears in his hand.
Okay. See, I thought originally he did take it out of his belt.
I had to rewind it and watch it. I went back to watch it a second time, and I'm like, yes, that ball just magically appears in his hand. So that was just a little blip that I was pissed off about. But that is all I have for bad parts about the Starchild. Apparently there's a lot of other bad parts of the Starchild that I must have missed.
Yeah. Count Marzo, it is your duty to comment on this episode when it gets released, because you need to explain yourself as to why you hate this episode. If you don't comment, you're not a fan.
Well, I'm just saying, is there little bits and pieces that were missing that pissed you off about this episode, or did you just not like the general premise? If you didn't like the general premise, fine. Or if you didn't like the Starchild as a character, fine. But are there parts about this episode that were missing, inconsistencies, plot holes, something that we're not seeing? I'm not saying this is a great episode. It's not, but it's definitely not the worst.
No, this episode for me is much better than the other two episodes we talked about.
Well, it's better than one of them. Anyway, since we're starting to talk about it, I guess it's time to get into our awards rankings.
So, all this time you've each sought the Starchild's power to overcome the other.
Yes, Your Majesty, but only so that we, the tree people, could make the cave dwellers understand that we should live in peace.
But that's all we, the cave dwellers, ever wanted. To live in harmony.
So you see, it was all a simple misunderstanding. I guess the power to love and protect one another is sometimes hard to come by.
Then go. Take the Starchild and give her the best of both. The caves and the trees. The entire crystal forest and all its beauty. That is, if that is your wish.
All right, it is time for the award ceremony for episode 39. Mr. TFG1Mike, what do you have to say? Any hardware?
Trophy case is empty, so...
Okay, well, I have one thing to give away then, and that is a power sword to the Royal King and Queen of Eternia.
I can agree with that. I'm not going to give them one, but I agree with it, yeah.
I just think that's probably the most I've liked them out of any episode, and I just thought they were done well in this episode, so that's what I'm giving for that. As far as episode rating, I will give this not the worst record or rating. I will not give this the best rating. I will give this a straight 3 Battle Cats out of 5. 3 out of 5. You heard me correctly.
Yeah, 3 Orcos as well. Like I said, like you just said, it's not the best, but it's not the god-awfulest worst. And again, Count Marzo, if you don't comment on this episode post and explain to us why you hate this episode so much...
Give us more than just a one sentence.
Yeah, give us more than just a million tweets. Explain it. Comment on the episode post. Give our website traffic, damn it.
We're whores.
Yes, exactly. Well, there already was one whore today in one of the episodes, but anyway.
All right, so with that, we will take a quick break, and we'll come back with our overall thoughts on 3 episodes today and where He-Man stands after 39 episodes, and we'll be right back.
As you saw in today's story, people can change.
Right, Teela. Sibylline had always been an evil sorceress, but she was able to change her ways for the better. Maybe there's something about yourself that you don't like. A bad habit, maybe.
It's easy to say I can't change, but the truth is, you can change almost any behavior if you really want to.
And the first step is saying to yourself, I can.
Soundwave, jam that transmission! Rumble Frenzy, Ravage Rat-Bat, Eject, Operation Interference.
No, there will be no Operation Interference. I am TFG1Mike, and you should be listening to my very first podcast, the TFG1 Podcast. 24 episodes covering the entire U.S. run of the 1984 Transformers cartoon. I also have a few supplemental episodes and an interview with Stan Bush. I bring in guest hosts who will be full-time co-hosts in Steve Megatron and fan of the show now co-host Pecan Court Michael. So check out the TFG1 Podcast. You can find it on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Transform and roll out!
Welcome to my throne room, Future Tales. The Beast Unleashed podcast is over, not gone. You can hear more of this great podcast, discussing all the episodes of Beast Wars and Beast Machines on GeekCastRadio.com. We include voice actor and writer interviews with stellar hosting by Steve, Mike, and Michael. Head on over to iTunes or the net, or else I will send you my vehicles to extract your spark and destroy you. Yes.
Emerging from the dark humor that was the Beast Unleashed podcast, Steve Megatron, TFG1Mike, Pecan Court Michael, and the Cybertronian correspondent OptimusSolo move on to Transformers Animated with Transformation Animation Podcast. 20 episodes covering all 3 seasons of the cartoon, the books, and the awesome toy line. We'll also have cast and crew interviews, so get tapped with GCRN's next Transformers franchise podcast, Transformation Animation Podcast, available on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Get your tap on.
Decepticons, transform and rise up!
Today, Teela made a mistake, but instead of trying to correct it, she ran away. That was an even bigger mistake. Making mistakes is part of being human, but punishing yourself or quitting because of it is no way to make things better. The right thing to do is accept your error and try not to make that same mistake again. That's a lot smarter than running away. Until our next exciting adventure, goodbye for now.
Coming to Grand Rapids, Michigan on September 21st and 22nd.
is GrandCon Gaming and Comics Convention, presented by Celebration Cinemas. Join us in playing or chatting it up with fellow enthusiasts in a community that understands your passions. Get lost in the adventure of your favorite role-playing game. Admire costumes and art from vendors and attendees. Meet the creators behind your favorite mainstream and independent games and comic books. Check out unpublished games and sneak peek at things to come. You can get all this and more at GrandCon. For more information, please visit www.grand-con.com.
Today we saw people fighting over the Starchild, but in the end, her power brought these people together. It might surprise you to know that all of us have a power like the Starchild's. You can't see it or touch it, but you can feel it. It's called love. When you care deeply about others, when you're kind and gentle, then you're using the power. And that's very special magic indeed. Until later, goodbye for now.
Is this thing on? Oh, goody. Why, hello there. It's your dear old Uncle Joker here. I bet you're asking yourself, what could I be possibly doing here of all places? Well, I'm laughing at the fact that this new podcast presented by Geekcast Radio is called Legends of the Dark Knight. Who the heck knew the Bat was so popular? Ugh. Join Steve, Mike, and sometimes Tara for reviews on the greatest DC animated universe cartoon to ever meet Gotham City. So join moi for the talk of the town, or I'll send Captain Clown after you. He gets mighty angry when he doesn't get to have his garbage skull. So put on a nice big smile and join us for the next Geekcast Radio Network podcast, Legends of the Dark Knight.
Alright, so overall thoughts on the series so far. Let me start by saying I alluded to it earlier. This must have been a painful week back in October of what year are we in? 83. Because to me, these 3 episodes were all kind of bleh. I mean, I rated them 3, 3.5, and 2. So they're all just kind of middle of the road, nothing fantastic, nothing god-awful. So yeah, not an impressive week as far as the middle of the week goes for this week back in 1983. As far as overall goes, none of these episodes really added anything for me to this overall series. Kind of like in a standstill. We're in a lull here. I need the series to go one direction or another. To me, this is almost a critical point as far as how I am going to eventually form my opinion on the series overall. Up to this point, I came in after hearing years and months and whatnot of people telling me that He-Man is terrible and garbage and blah, 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 blah. It's just another one of those 80s cartoons that's shit. And I usually don't pay much attention to those people. But I had just watched a bunch of episodes of Mask and had that image completely destroyed for me. So I came into this one thinking probably the same thing is going to happen. You know, I remember a little bit about He-Man. I don't think there was too much to it, and I was prepared to have He-Man shattered in my rose-colored glasses shattered as well. Through 35 or 39 episodes, I was thinking that that this episode is anything but shit. It was actually rising on my ranks as far as all-time cartoons. I'm very pleased with what I'd seen so far. It wasn't the shit that people were telling me it was. But to me, now we're coming to a point within the next 10 to 15 episodes that it's very critical, and it's going to take a direction one way or the other for me. I don't know which direction it's going to go, but I am at a tilting point where I can go either way. So I don't know how you feel.
Well, these episodes, a 1 or 2, a 1, and a 3. These 3 episodes added absolutely no overall character development. They almost didn't...
No characters either.
Well, right, but, like...
They didn't develop the characters we had. They didn't introduce new characters. They just kind of did the same thing that we've been seeing for a little while now.
Right. They didn't do... These 3 episodes we talked about today did nothing for the series whatsoever. They were, hey, it's episode of the day. Come back tomorrow for another episode of the day. You know, it was just like your standard 80s one-offs that... And there are certain one-off episodes that will add a bunch of character development to people.
And I kind of expected that with Teela's trial a little bit.
I expected so much from... Like, people, seriously, even though I harped on that episode, I honestly, when you said last time in episode 12, you're like, yeah, you're going to give that a 0, aren't you, Mike? You know, when you said that, I was like, I don't know, you know... I was actually really hoping for some sort of thing where she was on trial for some crime she didn't... I was seriously hoping for something different than what we got, and because of what we got, that episode sucks.
So hopefully we can go up from here as we go into our 40s, as episode numbers reach the 40s. So,
yes.
Anything else before we move on?
I don't think so. Let me, did we talk about... Did I reveal the email that we had gotten?
No, but you can do that now.
Well, I thought I did. I don't remember if I did or not.
If you did, it was a long time ago and I've forgotten.
Yeah.
And I'll remember as soon as you say it.
Yeah, I did, from Cass from Illinois. So, well, guys, thanks. Yeah, we did talk about that. I wasn't sure.
But we are looking for more feedback, and that's why.
More iTunes reviews, people.
Excellent. So, thanks for listening to Tales of Eternia. And if you'd like to leave us feedback or get in contact with us, listen up. This is how you do it. Go to the website, www.geekcastradio.com. You can comment on all the posts. You can go back and comment on past episodes. You can see what else is happening at the Geekcast Radio with all kinds of fun stuff there. You can vote and comment on multiple things. You can send email to feedback@geekcastradio.com, and we'll read the email on our next episode or whenever you leave it. Please, 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 please leave the show's feedback in iTunes. We love iTunes feedback. 5-star reviews and feedback so we can read it on our episodes. Follow us on Twitter, Geekcast Radio. What's yours?
GCRN.
Mine's OptimusSolo. If you don't at me, like tag me in it, I won't say it. Become a fan on Facebook, facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. Call the voicemail line, tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. The number is
502-526-5821. Oh, I thought you wanted me to do it.
You wanted to do the number. I hate you. All right, we hope you enjoyed the tales today, and don't forget to join us on our next adventure when we will be discussing episodes 40, 41, and 42. I cringed at the first one here. Orko's Missing Magic. I don't have high hopes for that for some reason. The Search. And, Eternal Darkness. Sounds daunting. For now, I'm OptimusSolo with
TFG1Mike.
And remember always that by the power of Grayskull, we all have the power.